Hey guys, this is Charlie from Altcoin Buzz, and today we will talk about the 50th largest cryptocurrencies today and why we tomorrow might see them at a higher or even lower position. And I'm of course talking about Lisk and their upcoming rebranding tomorrow, the 20th of February. But before that, I want to make a quick notice that if you like me or this channel and what we do, I would really love it if you hit the like button or even dislike button, because if you don't tell us what you think, then we can't improve. Alright, so I was talking about Lisk and their upcoming rebranding. But first of all, we need to have a basic understanding of what Lisk is all about. And it's actually quite simple. They're building a platform for dApps, decentralized apps. So when it comes to the concept of Lisk, it's quite similar to Ethereum, Neos, EOS, and so on. So probably you guys are somewhat familiar with the concept of dApps run upon a blockchain. So in this video I will actually skip the whole introduction to this and focus more on what differs Lisk from its competitors. First of all, we have their consensus algorithm. You know, Bitcoin has proof of work and Ethereum are switching to proof of stake now and so on. But Lisk is running a sort of tweaked proof of stake called delegated proof of stake, DPoS. And it works such that at any given time there are only 101 delegates staking. And in order to become a delegate, you must have enough support from the community via a specific voting system. So what else is different with Lisk? Well, when I first heard about them, the main thing everybody was talking about was that the language that is used in the smart contracts is JavaScript. And JavaScript has an enormous community around the world, and perhaps specifically in terms of open source. And this is of course great. It would have been awesome to have a dApp platform where you could code in JavaScript. But at the time I really didn't think that it was enough of a unique selling point, so I didn't put much focus on it. But now with their up and coming rebranding, I looked into it a bit more and found out two more things that differentiates them from their competitors. First of all, we have their focus on user experience, which I think is really great. And if we look at their website, we can see that in order to create a dApp, you have to go through 3 steps. Code, of course, and then deploy, and then use. And once you can use it, you can also monetize on it. And in order to perform these 3 steps, they have a great GitHub repository, where they have the platform, their JavaScript library, their wallet, their Explorer, and even their own command line interface called Lisk. And on top of this, they also have a great documentation for each project. And this I think it's almost essential in order to be adopted by the larger mass. So in terms of their goal with user experience, I think they really live up to it. And the second thing I found out was their implementation of what they call sidechains, which means that the Lisk blockchain is actually a network of blockchain, and every dApp run upon it is actually run upon an individual sidechain. And this creates a better security and great scalability, because if one breaks or gets congested or so on, the rest of the network is fine. And also, currently, the Lisk team is working on their SDK, software development kit, and that not only will allow you to create your own blockchain on the Lisk platform, but also develop and improve on it. And in other words, you're not bound to the sort of default blockchain provided by Lisk, but you can also develop your own blockchain upon the Lisk platform. So, this sounds great, right? But are there any weaknesses perhaps? Yes, of course there are. And first of all, we have in their current platform, the transaction fee is fixed at 0.01 Lisk. And this is quite a lot of money. And sure, their platform isn't created to be a currency, but I think that use case is quite inevitable, so such a high transaction fee will work against them. And secondly, their releases have been quite slow, and they have pushed their deadlines a couple of times previously. I should mention that they have been very transparent with their work and their development obstacle. But still, if I have understood it correctly, they have been working on their SDK now for almost 2 years and without any major launch or release. And while that might imply that the result will be a great product, it also can build up a lot of expectations that might not be fulfilled. Looking at the team for a moment, we can see that they have a very large one, which is of course great. And looking at these founders here, Max Kordek and Oliver Beddoes. They started Lisk by forking an old project called Crypti. But I haven't actually been able to find out much more information about the rest of the team. But the question you should always ask yourself is, of course, do you believe in their vision, their goals, and their roadmap, and so on? And do you believe that this team can deliver on what is promised? Well, looking at the size of the team and their Twitter account and so on, they seem to be hardworking, and I think that there is no question about that if they continue working on this, they will deliver. That's my thoughts on it. However, I'm missing some advisors here, and even though I've been able to search and find for them online, I cannot see their current status, and therefore I think that this feature, in my opinion, is still very speculative. But keep an eye out for this in the rebranding event tomorrow. And now I want to talk a little bit about the competitors of Lisk. And first of all, we have the large oldies such as Ethereum, Neo, and so on. That is what they call Blockchain 2.0 projects. And that means that they were sort of first ones to implement the concept of smart contracts. But that doesn't necessarily mean that the technology is obsolete or something. They still have an enormous community and are actively developing to solve problems such as scalability and so on. On the other hand, what it does mean is that they already have a lot of dApps running upon their blockchains, and they are sort of the go-to blockchains and the big names when you want to develop something in the decentralized space. And then we have the Blockchain 3.0 projects such as Cardano, EOS, Nebulas, and a lot more. And sort of by definition, they are targeting the problems of scalability, sustainability, and interoperability. And they're planning to be the next step in the evolution of dApp platforms. And the problem so far is that I don't think any of them actually have launched yet, at least in a major way. But this is about to change in 2018, and even perhaps in this first quarter of 2018. So where does Lisk fit in all of this? Well, as of right now, I think that Lisk is a project between Blockchain 2.0 and 3.0 because they're targeting mainly the scalability problems. And they have some great challenges if they are to succeed with this, because they need to take market shares from the old big ones, Ethereum, Neo, and so on. And they have to do this before the newer platforms are launched at the full scale, because a lot of them actually have support of languages such as JavaScript, and that's just one of many languages. And this sort of takes away that unique selling point. So this is a really difficult task for Lisk, and even though they have a very large community, from what I've seen so far, my gut feeling tells me that they're not really succeeding at this. And this is why I'm so extremely excited about their rebranding tomorrow. And maybe we'll see an update on their roadmap and some new tech, and perhaps we'll even see they're publishing their SDK. Who knows? So let's look a little bit about what we know so far. So in the announcement of the rebranding, they have said that they are including a new brand identity, a new front-end design, a new dashboard, and a new wallet. And I think also a new website is included as well. And hopefully we can see an update with the roadmap. Currently we have this one, and it's pretty extensive, which is of course great, but I'm not sure it's entirely accurate, and if not anything else, it's always nice with an update to see where they're going, so to speak. But apart from this, when a project do a rebranding, it always comes with the feeling of a restart. Sort of, right now we leave all our history behind, for good or for bad, and we're here right now and we're ready to kick some ass. If we look at Neo, for instance, that rebranded from Ant shares back in last summer, we saw the hype and also, of course, the price increased a lot. I think over a couple of months it went like from $150 to almost $50. And more recently, in January now, we saw the rebranding of Ryblocks to Nano did the same thing. If you're keeping up with the community, you probably haven't missed that. And also worth mentioning is that in November 2017, there was a conference that hyped the price of Lisk a bit, but the short-term investors became a little bit disappointed with the long-term vision of the development presented at that time, and now many ask themselves the question if this will be the same. Well, if you ask me, I'm of course not sure, but I don't think that history will repeat itself. First of all, this is not a conference, this is a rebranding. And secondly, Lisk could have a lot going for them. If they, for instance, are addressing or even releasing something that challenges the other platform, I can absolutely see a bright future for Lisk. But if they don't deliver on this tomorrow, I wouldn't be so sure. Remember, I'm not a financial advisor of any sort. You have to think for yourselves, but this is my thoughts on it. But at the same time, I think that Lisk has fallen a bit short on their marketing and design, but I get really excited when I read the founder Max Kordek saying in an interview, when we do a launch, it's going to be professional, a big party like an Apple keynote. And that, my friends, would be nice. So I think that no matter what the future holds, a lot of Lisk's future is decided at this event tomorrow. And you can actually follow it live on their YouTube channel. So you can be absolutely sure that at least I will. So that's enough for me this time. As I said in the beginning, if you like this video, I would love it if you hit the like button. If you didn't like it, hit the dislike button so we know what you think. But if you want more videos like this, I would recommend you to subscribe to us here on YouTube, Altcoin Buzz. And don't forget to hit the little bell button so you get noticed every time we publish a video. And if this wasn't enough for you guys, we're also on Twitter under altcoinbuzz.io, and of course also Instagram under altcoinbuzz, and a lot of different places. And I will leave the links to all of them in the description below. Until the next time, guys, this is Charlie, over and out.